Like, hey everybody, I'm Scotty, that's right, Scoob. That's right, Maggie. And I am the world's biggest Scooby-Doo fan. And I'm going to give you a tour of my home because, frankly, I overdo things. Come on in. Here we go. This is pretty cool. This is one of the old animation cells, obviously signed by Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera. That's a nice collector's piece. That'll set you back about $2,000. Can you believe that's a lot of dough?
This is one of my favorite pieces right here. This is a little mini mystery machine for kids, and I bought it for my son, but unfortunately, I am the one that rides it around the house.
You know, the kids, what slippers do they wear? It's gotta be Scooby-Doo. When we have Easter around the house, we don't lay Easter eggs. We lay Scooby snacks. What do the kids color in the house? It's Scooby-Doo. Can you imagine? Look at this. It's a Scooby-Doo talking book. It's also got my voice on. Come on in here. My son's name is Presley, and when we brought him home from the hospital, his first picture had to be with Scooby-Doo. Not with Daddy and Mama, but with Scooby-Doo. Now check that out. Everything in our house, from the blankets that grace the seats, is Scooby-Doo. Oh, here's some piece for me. This is my son's blankie. Well, Presley.
My wife says I overdo things, and we always emphasize D-O-O.
I actually got this for my wife as a Christmas gift. Now, I got to show you this. This is what really makes this thing very special. Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera actually signed this for Jody.
My most sentimental piece is an old lunch pail box that my grandmother bought me at the store.
This is actually the first piece that ever got me collecting Scooby-Doo stuff.
And I was hooked ever since.
Yeah, I'm not done. Come on this way. Hey, looky here. Y'all want some gum? I'm going to get myself some gum here. It's a Scooby snack.
We got rid of the shower curtains. The basketball goal had to go. We've tried to condense it down.
I overdo things. This is my fun room. Come on in. This head was actually one of the little tiki heads that was in the motion picture. And the director of Scooby-Doo the motion picture gave me this when I flew over to voice Scrappy-Doo in the movie. Scrappy-Dappy-Doo! Da-da-da-da-da-da! This is the tag That was the mold that was made from Scooby-Doo's tag for the motion picture. Come here a second. Let me show you this. If you'll notice the tag on Scooby-Doo, this was the mold piece that they made the tag from. So that's kind of a cool piece there.
At one time, Warner Brothers coined me or marketed me as the biggest Scooby-Doo collector in the world, but I've actually had to box up most of that because my wife was threatening to divorce me, and I really had to make a tough decision, and I'm really going to miss her. That's funny.
I want to show you something. You're going to have to follow me here. I keep this stuff stored. Don't tell nobody that I did this. Wow! It's Velma! Can you imagine? You see Freddy in the background back there with Daphne? Now, I want to show you something here. This is where all of it's stashed, okay? Just stuffed animals like crazy. It's all Scooby-Doo. Look at all that. Can you get the camera in there? I wanted to put this up in there. Is that overdoing things or what? I want to thank everybody for coming into my house, and I appreciate it. And anytime that you want to come back, please do, because we always make room for Scooby-Doo fans. And as Scooby-Doo and Shaggy would say, man, have us over for dinner time because we're starved. Yeah, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for coming in. We'll see you. Come on, Scoob. Let's go.
Hey guys, come on in. Take a look at our Scooby-Doo collection. My wife and I, right after we got married, started collecting toys and antiques. We've been collecting about 14 years. And we traveled around the country going to different toy shows, and that's where we started finding a lot of the Scooby-Doo collectibles, like lunch boxes, watches, puzzles, push puppets, movie posters, plush dolls, megaphone, Scooby-Doo cells from the cartoons. Oh my. A cell is what they use to make the cartoon, and for every movement they have to create another cell. One thing that's really unique about this cell is that it has the original hand-painted backgrounds. Most of our cells have been signed by Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera. When you can get a collectible that's in its original packaging, that's just a big plus. This is a crushed stone craft kit with Scooby-Doo. This is a hand-cranked movie viewer. You can actually see it play the Scooby-Doo cartoon. But this is a Scooby-Doo Ben Cooper costume, like the ones I used to wear when I was a kid. Do you think I look like Scooby? Usually, once you've got your eyes trained and you look more and more, then you start seeing more and more. This is a light table drawing set. And you plug it in, it'll have a little light underneath the table right here. So you would lay this on the table like this, put you a clean sheet of paper over it, and then when the light would show through from the bottom, then you could just trace the characters and draw in and make your own cartoons. We didn't really realize what was out there until we found it. You know, you'd be at a toy show, and it's like, oh gosh, I didn't know they created one of these in Scooby-Doo. Then we would buy it. You see the cake pan? For the really cool stuff, you know, you've got to go, out and search for it. It's just not out there on the shelf. Yeah, do you remember the talking Viewmasters? They had one that was a talking Viewmaster, and it would actually play a reel, so as you're looking at the cartoon scene on the inside, it would tell you a little bit about what's going on. I've got about 8 boxes full of Scooby-Doo collectibles that I don't even have room to put out. Well, come on over here, because I want you to see my favorite piece. This is the wedding scene from Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders. It's one of a kind, and it has so many special memories behind it, and that it would be signed by Bill Hanna. And if you look closely, you'll see that there's actually watercolor tie-dyed outfits that they're wearing, and this is multi-layers of cells. Very beautiful piece, but it's a one-of-a-kind. There was no more cells that was complete like this. Teresa's very fond of that as well. This is my nephew, Alan.
This is probably my favorite piece out of all of them. And these are some movie story cards from the real live movie. The pins I like also. They're from the movie theaters. And that's about all. I would consider Teresa and myself to be the ultimate Scooby-Doo fans because we've went to no end to try to
get the ultimate Scooby experiences like going to St. Louis to visit the Limp Mansion, which is on the top 10 most haunted houses in the United States. And they let you take flashlights and roam throughout from the attic to the basement. And we were the only ones that was staying there. So we did have a Scooby-Doo adventure. Wow, I'm getting hungry. I think we better run. So long.
Hey, I'm Scott Gerald. Come on in and see my Scooby collection. I drew as a kid, so come this way. It was nice to have a point of reference, instead of just sitting in front of the TV and trying to draw it. And I started seeing coloring books and comic books and board games and things like that, so I started picking that stuff up when my allowance would allow it. I just really liked the show. I liked the structure of the show. It wasn't like anything else that was on. It had a beginning, middle, and end, and you always had to try to guess the villain, before they figured it out. I've got things in my collection I don't know if I could put a price on. Some things are pretty pricey, just depending on the age. It usually has to do with the year. As far as comic books, coloring books, board games, things like that, depending on the year that they were put out and what kind of condition they're in, that's what people try to put a price on. Comic books and coloring books are probably some of the earliest things that I have. Here's some of the comic books that I picked up. So, those coloring books, the Scooby maquette that they sold for a while, limited edition. The Scooby statue that I really like. It's like that porcelain dog that you need in your house. This is a little figurine from Kings Island Amusement Park. After I started collecting Scooby-Doo memorabilia, a lot of relatives and stuff would just send me things. So my nephew had a lunchbox that he sent me, and I kind of cherish that a little bit. A few things I've gotten over the years of working on Scooby. This is just a lineup from Pup Named Scooby-Doo, which was what a show I was involved in quite a while at Hanna-Barbera. My favorite Scooby-Doo collectible is a lithograph print that was based on the presentation board for the show that actually sold the show. That's my favorite collectible. There's one thing that I'm looking for that I haven't been able to find. I had when I was, I think, probably 10 or 11. That was a give-a-show projector, and I think it was the first year that these came out in color. And I just thought that was the most amazing thing, that I could actually sit and watch every frame and see how they drew it. And that's the one thing I can't find that I wish I could find. It's something that my wife got me for, I think it was Christmas last year. It was a bowling ball that I didn't even know they made. I didn't drill any holes in it because I figured it's just going to sit. The advice I give someone that's just starting to collect right now would be it's real easy because there's so much stuff out there now, from T-shirts to coffee mugs to backpacks to anything that you want has Scooby on it because he's such an evergreen character and such a popular character. I can show you the biggest part of my Scooby collection, and because I've been working on Scooby over the years, and he paid for most of my house, I figured he needed his own room. So, come with me. The bathroom. And there's a lot of stuff here that people have sent me over the years. Like, oh, here's a paper towel rack. You need this. Or here's a cookie jar. I have a lot of posters. Bath towels, like I said, they put Scooby on everything now. Up here we have cells from the actual show, like Scooby and Scrappy. Up there's a mystery machine. Here I have a cabinet with just all kinds of little PVC figures. Here's the action figures of the characters. There's a little bobblehead Scooby. Toothbrush holder, cups, even stickers on the on the toilet seat. More towels, posters, Christmas lights. We have Scooby snacks and Scooby cereal in the shower, just in case anybody gets hungry. It's really hard for anybody to take a shower, though, because Scooby's usually in there. But this is my bathroom, this is my collection, and that's it.
Every Scooby-Doo movie starts with a simple drawing, and here's how you do it. So give it a try. It may take a little practice, but you can draw Scooby-Doo in the game. You really can.
It's so simple.
It is?
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you. Pretending you got a silver. You're not here with me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shiver. You know we got a mystery to solve, so Scooby, be ready for your act. Don't hold back. And Scooby-Doo, if you come through, you're gonna have yourself a Scooby snack. That's a fact. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, here are you. You're ready and you're willing. We can count on you, Scooby-Doo. I know you'll catch that feeling. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you. Pretending you got a sliver. You're not fooling me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shiver. You know we got a mystery to solve, so Scooby-Doo, be ready for your act. Don't hold back. And Scooby-Doo, if you come through, you're gonna have yourself a Scooby snack. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, here are you. You're ready and you're willing. We can count on you, Scooby-Doo. I know you'll catch that feeling.
Hi, gang.
Hey, you know these guys. They're the Mystery Ink Gang, and it's easy to tell who's who. There's Freddie, the dashing leader with style.
Gang, we've just been handed our next mystery.
Daphne, the girl with a closet full of class.
I'll say
Velma, the smart one with sophistication.
it defies all the known laws of physics.
Shaggy, the man in need of a makeover.
What do you know?
And Scooby-Doo, a big dog and a big fan of classic fashion. We know a lot about the Mystery Ink Gang because of the way they look and the way they dress.
You shouldn't believe everything you read.
But why do people dress the way they do?
I guess that's another mystery.
How we dress says a lot about who we are.
Very interesting.
And the members of the Mystery Ink Gang each have their own individual sense of style.
Now things are beginning to make a little sense.
If any one of them tried to borrow clothes from another one, it just wouldn't work. See what I mean?
Like, wow, who'd do a kooky thing like that?
Take Shaggy, for instance. Check out those clothes. That hair. Could you imagine him with any other nickname? He was born to be Shaggy.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Shaggy hardly ever has to search for just the right thing to wear. He has a bohemian style, a flair all his own that is unique yet easy. Daphne tried to get him to wear a suit and tie once, and this is what happened. His bell-bottom pants, t-shirt, and hair all say that he marches to the beat of a different drum. A loud one.
Hey, Scoob, pick up the beat.
His loose-fitting clothes are also very functional because you never know when he's gonna have to split.
You forgot, I'm a track man. I can really run and fast.
But even a guy like Shaggy knows the value of good grooming.
If there's one thing I can't stand, it's taking a bath in a haunted house.
He wears clothes that accentuate his slender build and his sleek profile.
You know, all this excitement has made me hungry.
Unlike Shaggy, there's another guy in the gang who takes a lot of pride in his appearance.
Hi, gang.
It's Freddie!
Freddie always looks just right.
Of course.
The hair, the clean lines. Like a lot of people, Freddie has a signature look with just a touch of individuality.
Look at that.
That ascot around his neck says loud and clear that Freddie's in touch with his feminine side, yet secure in his own masculinity.
That explains a lot.
And his taste in neckwear is something he shares in common with someone else. Someone sort of special.
Yeah.
You heard the lady.
And Daphne has just one thing to say about Shaggy and Freddie.
Groovy, guys.
Velma.
What can you say about Velma?
Wait a minute.
One look at her and one word comes to mind. Brainiac.
Very funny.
Velma is smart. Oh, heck. She's absolutely brilliant, and her coordinated outfits prove it. Using a fitted orange turtleneck, mini skirt, and knee-highs, Velma projects the perfect sexy smart girl appearance.
Naturally.
And then there's Daphne, the cute one.
Jeepers.
Come on, you've noticed. Certainly Freddie has. He's always looking for ways to get her all to himself.
I think we better split up. Daphne and I'll go this way. You two go that way.
Fashion is Daphne's middle name.
There's something fishy about that.
Well, not literally, but she's got the hair, the clothes, the legs, and looks pretty darn good, even in the most unfortunate situations.
Will you tell me what I'm doing in this silly costume?
Purple is definitely her color. She has the ideal ensemble, so versatile it takes her seamlessly from day to night.
Very good.
And according to those who know her best, if she sees something she likes in the store, she generally has just one thing to say.
I think it's groovy. I'll take it.
Like a lot of fashion-forward girls.
Well, my intuition tells me.
Daphne knows she looks good. And you know what?
She's right.
But when it comes to style and fashion, the winner may be Scooby-Doo.
I gotta admit, Scoob has style.
When Scooby-Doo looks in the mirror, he always likes what he sees. He just goes all natural, with a smooth coat and classy collar. This is the signature trait of our leading man. He knows that less is always more.
How do you look? I don't see any difference.
After all, Scooby-Doo is a dog, and we love him very much.
When making your fashion statement, make it your own from brainiac to maniac. It's your charm and intellectual curiosity that work and speak not only who you are, but what you've become. That plan has always worked for the Mystery Ink Gang.
Well, we gotta be going. Come on, Scoob.
Well, almost always.
Ooby, ooby, ooby.
Run for your life, Scoob!
Yeah. They're America's favorite crime-solving team, a talking dog and a mystery machine. From coast to coast, they travel the road, unmasking the villain in every episode. Yeah. It's Scooby-Doo. That's me. We all love Scooby-Doo. He loves solving crimes. Yeah. He's one of a kind. So join along and sing our song about a dog, red, white, and blue. Oh, shucks. America's in love with Scooby-Doo. Well, that's me, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Jeez. Velma's found another clue. Seems she's on the right track. Man, like we're not going in there, huh, Scoob? Oh, wait. Would you do it for a Scooby snack? Okay. Scooby-Doo. That's me. We all love Scooby-Doo. He loves solving crimes. Yeah. He's one of a kind. So join along and sing our song about a dog, red, white, and blue. Like America's in love with Scooby-Doo. That's me, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Man, like eating really makes me hungry, huh, Scoob? Well, hungry. Mystery Inc. help pave the way. Those meddling kids are gonna save the day. Here we go. Scooby-Doo. Like we all love Scooby-Doo. He loves solving crimes. He's one of a kind. So come along, sing our song about a dog, red, white, and blue. America's in love, like America's in love. America's in love. Swing with Scooby-Doo, like that's my pal. Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
gang. We hit the streets to ask people what they think of Scooby-Doo. And here's what they had to say.
We're big Scooby-Doo fans. I love Scooby-Doo.
I was a real big Scooby fan growing up.
I just like them all because they had a cool van.
Very cool.
Yeah.
With the paisley flowers on it.
Yeah. I like the mystery.
Kind of 70s style. I like it.
I think I'm a Scooby-Doo fan because I like the mystery.
Looks like we've got another mystery on our hands.
And the fact that the plot was always the same and I never quite figured it out.
Now let's see who's really behind these bandages. Doctor in a shame!
I always liked it when they split up and it's like, hey, Daphne and I will go this way.
Daphne and I will go this way. You two go that way.
It's always trying to mac on Daphne and he never made a move. I never understood why.
You love Shaggy and Scooby no matter what they do. They're cowards, and you can see yourself getting into that situation, and you want to run too.
So who's your favorite character?
Whoever that hot guy was with blonde hair.
Hi, gang.
Freddy.
Fred, the ascot.
I'm a big Freddy fan. It's kind of boring, laid back, the smart one.
I thought he was cute.
My favorite Scooby-Doo character is Daphne.
Wow.
Daphne?
She's rocking the purple dress. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
My favorite character is Velma.
Her hair is very unique.
Thank you, sir.
The socks. It's all about the knee-high socks.
Very funny.
Velma's cool, because you got to have somebody who knows what they're talking about.
There's no such thing as a ghost.
My favorite character is Shaggy.
Shaggy's my favorite.
Shaggy.
Someone mentioned me.
You know, he was always goofing off with Scoob.
He was just always eating stuff, and, he would take down a hamburger that was, that big.
He has the greatest sense of style with his hippie hair and bell-bottom pants.
My favorite character is Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
It was just the whole, part and,
Scooby snacks and stuff like that. You liked him.
Aww. He's always solving the problems. He's the man. He's the dog.
I used to envy him. Sometimes I wish I could eat like he used to eat.
He always had a good laugh about it,
What was that?
Zoinks! Zoinks!
Zoinks.
New on DVD, it's Scooby-Doo Safari So Goody. 4 all-new adventures in one collection. Scooby-Doo and the gang take off on vacation and take in some very scary sights.
Okay, look lazy.
First, take a trip with Scooby-Doo and the gang as they safari around Africa.
This place needs AC.
Then get the ups and downs at a radical roller coaster park.
See, Scoob? That wasn't so bad.
awesome.
And go for a spin in the Mystery Machine Gone Mayhem.
The Mystery Machine really is haunted.
And best of all, visit
Viva Las Vegas.
That's Las Vegas.
Yeah, Las Vegas.
Don't miss the DVD extras and get up with new hip lingo.
Totally trying to kick it, Chilly Willy, and you peeps are bumming off Van Winkle's.
What did he say?
Then grab a friend for a fun-filled ride of spooky adventure in Road Trip and more.
Talk about a lavish production.
Look for What's New Scooby-Doo Safari So Goody on DVD and video.
Scooby-Doo!
It's coming. Aye, lads, it's coming. From the foggy shores of the Loch Ness and the Scottish Highlands comes a creature shrouded in mystery. A beast with a ravenous appetite so legendary that it defies imagination. Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster. A brand new mystery movie coming soon to DVD and video.
Ladies and gentlemen!
For the first time ever on DVD, it's the premiere episodes of the first animated primetime show. The Flintstones Season 1.
It's me, Fred Flintstone.
Take a trip back in time to Bedrock, where wildlife is an appliance.
What the heck? The pay is good.
And transportation is always available.
It's working, Fred. It's working.
See your favorite classic episodes in this special 4-disc collection of the entire first season.
Hold it, Mac. Thanks.
Don't mention it.
With special bonus features on DVD, like a tribute to William Hanna and Joseph Barbera.
Why don't we do a primetime show? An animated show in primetime? Are you kidding?
Tune in to early Flintstones programming.
Wilma, where's the Alka-Seltzer?
Where it always is, next to the one-a-day multiple vitamins.
See Flintstones throughout time. Watch the original Lost pilot.
You'll either spare them or they'll die laughing.
Learn the faces behind the voices.
Oh, it's just gorgeous.
How do you like these? Couple of dinosaur steaks.
Merchandising. And much more.
That's all right.
The Flintstones Season 1. Look for it on DVD.
Wait till I get my hands on you.
And be sure to look for other classic animation collections from the Warner Home Video Library.
Wait till Wilma hears about this.
What's up, Jack?
I'm hunting weapons.
For the first time ever on DVD, a 24-karat collection of classic Looney Tunes.
I'm rich! I'm rich! Yahoo!
These groundbreaking cartoons are completely remastered and restored to a dreamy, pristine quality.
I must be dreaming.
It's the Looney Tunes Golden Collection. Look for it only on DVD. 56 of the all-time greatest Looney Tunes cartoons in one collection.
You're despicable.
Featuring all your favorite characters. Many of them not wearing pants.
Well, you can't go around like that.
Featuring a boatload of DVD special features from the Warner Brothers vaults, including never-before-seen cartoons, commentaries, featurettes, a Looney Tunes history, games, and more.
We're hunting Elmas.
I thought I saw a pussycat.
Your friends will be green with envy.
I wish I could turn green like that.
So if you're hungry for great cartoons, now you can get your fill.
Wonderful. Ooh, simply wonderful.
Look for the Looney Tunes Golden Collection, an unprecedented 4-disc animation collection on DVD, never before available.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you, pretending you got a sliver. You're not fooling me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shiver. You know we got a mystery to solve. got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you, pretending you got a sliver. You're not fooling me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shiver. You know we got a mystery to solve, so Scooby-Doo, be ready for your act. Don't hold back. And Scooby-Doo, if you come through, you're gonna have yourself a Scooby snack. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, here are you. You're ready and you're willing. If we can count on you, Scooby-Doo, I know we'll catch that villain.
First of all, I found out I could draw when I was 8 years old.
We pooled our talents and formed Hanna-Barbera.
Oh, I get it. All we're doing is laughing because we're having such a good time. I think that's really the secret.
We worked that way for many, many, many years.
Bill and Joe's relationship, I saw them as they were two guys who worked together like a machine, and Bill had his area of expertise and Joe had his.
They were like totally different. Joe drove a black Cadillac, Bill a white Lincoln. Bill's office is all light-colored and lit up beautifully. Joe just like a nightclub.
The example of perhaps a married couple who know each other so well that they're finishing each other's sentences and speaking in shorthand and such.
Yeah, Bill would like run production at the studio. Joe would handle the creative side of things.
And they worked together beautifully and such harmony. They really liked each other.
Both of them had the capability of functioning in a way where there was no question as to who the bosses were. But at the same time, they were able to establish and continue to sustain a relationship with the personnel there.
I respected both Bill and Joe so much. I was so in awe of them as a kid. And then when I was working with them and I would see them walking down the hall, I just thought, these men don't need to work anymore. They have this enormous company with their name on the top of the building. And yet they would be there at work every single day.
He was always telling about how the name Hanna-Barbera came along, where he said he really preferred it to be Barbera and Hanna.
Barbera Hanna would look great on the top of the building.
You'd be my guest.
Oh, sure.
And then at night, he went up to the roof on the building and he'd switch the names around.
You know what he used to do? When I left town on a trip, he put the lights out behind my name. Yeah, all that was up there was Hanna.
Well, what I did was when they get up on the roof, I had to take the sheet off of my name that he had put on the day before.
Joe was, in addition to being the producer and creator of many of the shows, was the head salesman, and he would go to the networks every year and peddle his shows.
Well, come right in, sir. It's showtime, showtime, showtime. You ain't nothing but a bash town. Yeah.
Joe Barbera was relentless. He would go to New York with one little drawing and sell a whole season of shows.
Sometimes we do presentation storyboards where Joe would work out a script and we'd storyboard it and he'd present that to the networks.
Well, Joe was really the creative head. He ran presentation. Ewo worked under Joe. And we would make drawings and they'd go into Joe for approval. And Joe also had his hand in production, too.
Bill, on the other hand, physically ran the studio. Once the show had been sold to the network, then Bill would take over.
There was a transition there from creation to production, and it needed to be separate. But yes, Bill ramrodded. He was very good at it, too.
This time, we put our foot down. Yay!
If a show was ready to ship, or was needed to ship time-wise, and it wasn't done, Mr. Hanna would roll up his sleeves and do whatever it had to be done to get that show shipped on time. He was remarkable. He worked and worked and worked right beside everybody.
While live-action production is collaborative to an extent, animation, for me, is much more so. Between the artists, the visualization of a location or the characters, the voice actors, the writers, the director, everyone is working on the material in a way at the same time, and one discipline is influencing another discipline.
Bill has set up a system that was so efficient. What you do is you do all the pre-production here. So from script to storyboard to models to color key to style of the background. They even had a how to paint a background.
When he and Bill had the MGM studio making Tom and Jerry's, Joe would do all the layouts. And they did the storyboards too. And Bill, people didn't know that Bill wrote music besides running the production company. These are very talented guys.
Mr. Barbera used to bounce ideas off of me all the time.
Joe would work in scenes. He would have flashes of gags or scenes, and my job was to take note and try to knit them together.
Oftentimes, we would get the storyboard, and Joe would mark with his red ink, "See me, Joe."
Come on in, we're about to start.
Animation is not in the limelight, people don't see you. You work in a desk, you work in an office, and you create on paper, and nobody sees you doing that. So there's no glamour in reality. It's just hard work and teamwork.
Before I had gone to Hanna-Barbera, they told me, "Oh, this is a sweatshop. You don't want to work there." But when I went in there, it was just busy, 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 like a beehive, and I found this is where I want to work.
As long as you gave them the numbers, they like to get 100 feet of film out of the animators a week.
That really made for some giddy times around the studio.
To break the ice, I guess, they used to shoot rubber bands off the ceiling so it would drop right onto your head.
They were always teasing each other. They even had a bucket of water up on the door. And whenever anyone would come through that door, they'd get a bucket of water. And they'd laugh and just carry on.
All I can say is, don't open that door.
So it wasn't all work. We all played around a lot, too.
That was a time when the animation theatrical business was, major studios had discontinued making those films, and there was this flood of talent around. And Hanna-Barbera is going into TV with the animation, so the studio was packed with all these great artists and animators and writers and musicians and editors.
There was, I think, one season we had 14 different shows. Can you imagine? And each show had like 13 segments.
And we just got an awful lot of shows that year. And we went from doing 1,200 feet a week the previous year. All of a sudden we had to produce 5,000, maybe 200 feet a week.
And we became an enormous factory of cartoons. We were recording 2, 3, 4 episodes a day, 5 days a week.
We had a true assembly line in the studio. And that's how we were able to get so many cartoons out so fast. There's quite a range of characters at Hanna-Barbera. There's Johnny Quest, and there's Huckleberry Hannah and the Flintstones. That's quite a range of style. Not all artists could cover those bases. So we would hire people who would specialize in either funny or adventure style.
What you do here?
The design of the characters, there were big, easy characters, colorful characters, bright colors, limited movement, but funny stories, funny gags, funny situations. Get it down on paper, make it funny, and people will watch it.
So each show had a lot of designs to be done. And not only single drawings, but turnarounds and action poses. So it kept us all really busy.
Model sheets are for the animators to look at so they know what the character looks like from all sides. They do a turnaround on the characters and all the props that the story needs, and model sheets are all cleaned up with a nice line.
When I was doing layouts, I never drew a character without the model sheet in my hand. I never relied on my memory, because if you do that too often, the character won't look like the character. It'll look like your version of the character.
Well, usually we would start with just trying to design the characters, what they're going to look like. And, whenever I would design or create a character, I tend to do overweight characters like myself. But one time Joe said to me, he was leaving the cubicle, he said, "Hey, stop making all the characters fat like you."
The first character that I'm aware of having designed for Hanna-Barbera was on the Flintstones. A character called the Great Gazoo, who was a character from outer space. The next major one was on the Jetsons, and it was the dog, Astro. Those are the two that were probably the major early character designs that I created for Hanna-Barbera.
Follow me.
me. There's another warlock on the loose.
The writing was all done on storyboards. There wasn't anyone there who just typed out scripts. We didn't even go to an outline stage.
My first assignment when I showed up was to report to Mr. Barbera's office and for us to figure out what the pilot episode of The Jetsons would be, bringing it back into syndication.
The logos were my designs. I am proud to say, for instance, I designed the signature logo of Hanna-Barbera. That was based on Joe's and Bill's signatures. Now, prior to this signature logo, we had a star logo. But that was not really the official logo. They wanted to see the word Hanna-Barbera more predominant.
I got a great idea, Scoob. You go first, and I'll be right behind you.
Ewo and myself and another fellow named Jack Huber, we were a layout team. They used to have teams of 3 people per episode. So we'd each do an act. It would be like 3 acts for the half-hour show.
As a layout artist, initially we do the blueprinting of the film. We do a lot of the planning for the animators, like camera moves and where you would truck in and pan and scene cuts. And then, of course, set up the characters in poses and make sure it's all model.
At Hanna-Barbera, we did the inking with a brush and ink instead of with a pen and ink, and a stylus to hold down the cell. And we wore a glove on one hand, but the fingers were cut out because that's where you held the brush. We would get the drawing, put it on a board, put a piece of cell on top of it, and then ink every drawing. And then from there on, it went over to the paint department. Bill Hanna and his father made a lot of the ink and paint desks. All the ink and paint girls had desks, I think, that Bill Hanna and his father made.
Bill was very talented. He's actually quite a musician himself, a singer as well, and he composed.
Kids, I'd like you to meet my pianist and arranger. He's the best in the business.
Bill would just kind of give Hoyt just a couple little lines like Flintstone. Here's Flintstone.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. They're the modern Stone Age family.
You'd be toiling away on this show, and lo and behold, a lyric would appear on your desk, and you'd get a little phone call from Bill saying, "Yeah, I worked on this lyric, and I kind of have this idea for the melody. You might want to consider this for your show." It was great.
Scooby, Shaggy, what is it?
It's the flannel. He was after the music.
I don't get it. What's so important about this song?
When I was a kid, and the minute I heard that music come on, I'd come like a lightning bolt to the TV set, and I'd be glued to it.
You hear that theme song, you perk up and you come running to catch the show. And I think Hanna-Barbera cartoons had that hallmark. When you think about the Jetsons' main title, or Johnny Quest's main title, or the Flintstones, or Yogi Bear, those main title songs were catchy, and they brought you running.
I hope we're not too late for the recording session.
Well, I call it the golden age of voiceovers for animation, because those people who in the 40s and 50s and even 60s were doing a lot were now getting on, but we had them for this last decade, and we had Mel Blanc, who was, extraordinary. We had Frank Welker.
Hey, look at this.
And we had Casey Kasem.
Like you can say that again.
And we had, B.J. Ward.
I think we've stumbled onto a mystery.
And we had Don Messick. And
boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
A lot of my voice heroes. And this was the first studio that ever hired a full-time voice director.
Voice acting is a very exacting, very precise, and demanding skill. The greatest actors in the world do voiceover. They really are extraordinary interpreters of the written word, and they turn your ears into eyes.
I loved it when the voiceover actors would come in, especially Jonathan Winters. He was so funny.
When I first met Dawes Butler and he did the voice of Huckleberry Hound for me, I burst into tears because there was one of my heroes speaking to me.
Of course, everyone, I'm sure that they've heard the story about Frank Welker falling off his stool. Put his legs inside the stool and started getting very animated and tipped over, could not get his feet out from under him, and just crashed down.
Come on into the control booth, gang. You can listen from there.
The great thing about working with these actors is they could come in and turn my concept around like that, and I'd hear something that would really make me laugh or really touch me in some way.
Scooby, you got one! I know.
So it's a good idea to have a concept, but also a good idea to be willing to give it up.
One day, apparently, Joe had Scatman Crothers in to perform some other voice work, and just on a whim, threw a test series of lines of Hong Kong Phooey. And we just flipped. We thought that was the funniest thing, and it was a great way to go.
Oh, my gosh, that's great, because it's so, out of left field. And, rather than you might say, the Bruce Lee imitation voice or whatever, you had this Scatman sound, which was great.
Working with Gordon was wonderful because he was prepared and they would rehearse the show and come in and we would just go through it. And everyone knew what they were supposed to do.
Okay, Ian, give us a level.
First of all, it's the casting, which takes a while. You have to cast the parts and get approval for each part. And then you get the actors in the studio, and I've got a script or a storyboard in front of me, and we rehearse them first. And they go through whatever they're going to do, and I make any corrections or additions that I think I need to, and the producer might give me some notes. And then we start recording, and we record until we've got it all the way we want to. And back in those days, it was all on audio tape, too, so that took a little bit more than recording digitally.
They were having like one hit series after another.
Hey, and don't forget Scooby.
Scooby-Doo was a big, huge hit.
Welcome, kids. Come on in.
The Scooby-Doo show was based on this hit TV show called The Mod Squad, where they had a bunch of kids driving around solving crimes, and they had this old automobile.
We'll meet you guys in the Mystery Machine.
When we designed the Mystery Machine, Ewo brought me the drawing. It looked like a Volkswagen bus, and he asked me to decorate it. In those days, the flower children were prevalent. So I decided to decorate it with flowers.
Good work, Shaggy. Just leave the driving to me. Whoa! Leave the driving to you, huh?
During the first couple of seasons, I designed all of the lead characters, of course, the 4 kids and Scooby himself. We all had trouble with drawing Scooby. I mean, Scooby was a realistic dog as compared to a stand-up Huckleberry Hound. When you look at a Scooby, you don't realize that maybe 6 layout men worked on that, or 12 animators. It looks like one person did it all. That's because of the model sheet, which was a control for everybody.
Like for one, Scoob, we got the best of the deal.
The Scooby cast is a fun group to work with. They're all very familiar with each other. Frank, who's been Freddy the entire time, is a real nice guy. Just great to work with. And Casey is always very proper and just wants to do his work.
Have the clowning, you two.
Shaggy and Scooby together were quite a team, unusual team, because they're both goofy and funny. You'd think you would have one guy straight and the other guy funny. But in this case, it was 2 comedians all falling over themselves, getting scared and running.
I think like that's our cue to hit the road. Right, Scoob? Right.
It's a great show because I guess the kids got used to the idea that the monster was really the landlord or somebody else, and they would pull that hood off at the end. They knew it was going to end up okay.
Like, hi!
I think that Scooby was more popular than Mickey Mouse around the world. He's very popular still.
Oh, it's nothing.
It was a real cartoon studio. They were still inking and painting. They still had the cells, the backgrounds. It smelled like a cartoon studio.
Huh? Isn't that delicious?
For me, it was pure fun. It was also putting out a product that I always felt did some good in the world. And it was more laughs than I ever hoped to have in my whole life.
I have always enjoyed what I have done. I have had fun all of my life working.
Some of the folks from Hanna-Barbera, no matter what they did or have done or doing now, no matter how old they are, I think we're all still kids.
If your product has a good story to it, it bears repeating. In a cartoon, if it's a funny situation, you can play it again and again.
Why, it's Dr. Grimsley.
And again.
Oh, no! Like, here we go again! Scooby-Doo!
Warning, the following content may be too funny for some viewers. Animaniacs Volume 2 on DVD for the first time ever.
Mission accomplished.
Yes, the Wacky Warners have escaped again and are headed to your home.
We're your biggest fans.
So abandon reality.
It's a short trip. I got a million more just like it. Unfortunately.
And give in to the hysteria.
We're Klingons, get it?
Of Yakko, Wacko, and Dot.
Ew, who's been eating garlic?
As they deliver over 10 hours of cartoon chaos in 25 episodes of the hit TV series.
It's our favorite show.
On a 5-disc collection, there's no hiding from the kookiest kids in the biz. Or their zany friends.
And put a sock in it.
You've been warned.
Now that's entertainment.
Then let the Madcap Mayhem continue with Pinky and the Brain Volume 2, swinging onto DVD for the first time.
Oh, goody!
Two tiny mice.
Pinky, set phasers on conquering the universe.
One giant agenda.
How do we take over the world this time?
You must know I'm suffering from an acute case of conqueror's block.
With over 8 hours of spectacularly original schemes. On a 4-disc collection featuring 22 episodes of the Emmy Award-winning TV series.
I rather like it.
Resistance is brutal.
You get the idea.
Steven Spielberg presents Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. Look for them on DVD.
You got yourself a deal.
And get these other collections on DVD now.
What's the recipe for fun and adventure? An exotic locale, a cluster of clues, high-speed chases, and your favorite dog.
What are we waiting for? Let's get cooking.
Look for What's New, Scooby-Doo, the complete second season on DVD.
Hey, man, would you look at that?
With 13 awesome episodes from the hit TV show, plus one groovy bonus episode just for you. This 2-disc DVD is a doggone masterpiece.
Looks like we hit the jackpot, Scoob.
It's one tasty collection. So look for What's New, Scooby-Doo, the complete second season on DVD.
Available for the first time, 2 new DVDs from the heroes at DC Comics. The greatest superheroes in the universe are together again to fight evil.
This isn't right. We'll find them and see that justice is done.
Each with a special power that alone is incredible.
Call in the League.
But together they are unlimited.
We need to take the fight to them. We'll be ready for them.
Now's your chance to own the final 13 episodes on a special 2-disc collection, Justice League Unlimited Season 2. Then comes a must-own DVD. Gotham City still needs a protector.
Wait for my signal.
The Dark Knight is back.
I had a feeling you'd drop by.
The final 13 episodes of this classic series can be yours on a 2-disc collection.
I bet this is for me.
Batman Beyond Season 3.
Do whatever it takes, but make sure you stop him.
Look for Justice League Unlimited Season 2 and Batman Beyond Season 3 on DVD. Also available on DVD, Justice League Seasons 1 and 2, Justice League Unlimited Season 1, and Batman Beyond Seasons 1 and 2.
Now on DVD, 30 mysteries.
We've got a mystery on our hands.
36 ghosts. 20 monsters. One crazy dog and his best friend.
Scuba and I are staying right here.
Yeah.
Like, wait for us.
Run scared with Scooby-Doo and Shaggy in Scooby-Doo's Original Mysteries and Greatest Mysteries.
Yeah.
Then take a one-way trip to Spooksville in Scooby-Doo's Creepiest Capers and Spookiest Tales.
Cool.
From Cape Canaveral.
Don't look down.
To Old New Orleans. From the dark jungles of Africa to the lights of Las Vegas. It's What's New, Scooby-Doo, Space Ape at the Cape, Safari So Goody, and Sports Spooktacular. This team of teenage mystery solvers,
no clues here,
has traveled around the world, teaming up with the Harlem Globetrotters and the dynamic duo in Scooby-Doo Meets Batman. So don't miss these crazy kids.
That's Bentley Kids.
On 9 collectible DVDs as they take on the likes of the Creeper,
Jeepers,
the Snow Ghost, and Sports Phantoms.
That guy is scary.
Do the math. It all adds up to night after night of Scooby-Doo fun.
Oh, boy.
Look for these 9 great Scooby-Doo mystery collections on DVD now.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo is here again, away we go. Scooby-Doo is running from a spooky ghost. Shaggy isn't doing what he does the most. Hey, come on, get involved till the mystery is solved. Hang around for Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo. That's my pal. Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
A teenage rock band solving crimes between gigs. A bongo-playing dog named Too Much. All with the title Mysteries 5. How did this concept become the Scooby-Doo we all know today?
Looks like we got a real mystery on our hands this time.
When Scooby was being developed, I was vice president of daytime programs for CBS, which included the children's schedule on the weekends. ABC put an animated version of the Beatles on and just beat the daylights out of CBS. This was a situation that had to be turned around with original programming. And at that point in time, there was only one studio to go to for really dependable material, and that was Hanna-Barbera.
Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera had produced theatrical cartoons for MGM for years, and the theatrical cartoon market had dried up, so they started producing them for television with Rough and Ready and Huckleberry Hound and Quick Draw McGraw. And they had Frankenstein Jr. and The Impossibles on CBS.
Joe Barbera and Bill Hanna also were extremely creative guys. They came out of Tom and Jerry and did all those wonderful shorts. They did Yogi Bear and the Flintstones and Top Cat and Jetsons.
I figured the way to beat the Beatles was to move on to the next thing. And my feeling was that the next major move was going to be comedy adventure. To take the basic adventure form, but put a twist on it.
Well, what was really original about Scooby-Doo at the time was to find that strange little niche between a heavy adventure show like Johnny Quest and a funny show like Huckleberry Hound. It wasn't either genre.
The mixture of those genres has been a staple in entertainment for years. Going back to Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Never been done on Saturday morning and never been done in animation. If we could capture the essence of what Abbott and Costello did, then we would end up with a big hit.
We were writers at Hanna-Barbera. Our development time was like throwing Joe Barbera a bunch of ideas, come in, and trying to figure out what the network was looking for, etc.
Well, Fred Silverman said he wanted to do a show with teenagers, and he wanted to be a comedy mystery.
Sort of either the Archie kids or like Dobie Gillis. So out we went. And then Joe said, Freddie likes dogs. Let's see if we can put a dog in it, too.
So we came up with a group of kids that were musicians, and we had the dog, which we called Too Much. Too Much was not a coward because it was a different situation. He was a bongo player, and they were just one of these musical groups that would travel around, and they'd fall into these mysteries.
So we called the group the Mystery Five, and we typed up a presentation for Fred. I'll never forget this. We typed it up, and we had it shipped over to the Beverly Hills Hotel for him to read. And it was all that spooky night and, stormy and ghosts and, all this kind of stuff. Well, we found out he read it like at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we thought, oh, God.
And Fred says, don't like the dog and get rid of the band.
And Fred hated the title. Hated the title Mysteries 5. And it was like you just saw that all this enthusiasm for the show was going right down the drain because you didn't have a title. And then finally, Fred says, we talked about doing a show with Bob Denver, and it was going to be called Who's Scared? We all went, great idea, Fred. That's a terrific title. And so it became Who's Scared?
What happens is that because certain things changed, characters suddenly do things that you don't expect them to do. And Scooby and Shaggy became the team. And they were both cowards.
Shaggy and Scooby, again, came out of the Bob Hope thing, which is making both Bob Hope scaredy cat kind of guys. But they always were heroic.
They're not going to hide when their friends are going to be creamed by this horrible monster. They're going to try to do something. As stupid it is, they're going to do something. And they were like two peas in the pod, and they were always, having fun with each other. So that changed the dynamics of the show. They all had a shtick. Daphne, she was the bad luck, danger-prone Daphne, where she'd do something in a bad, something would fall and break just when it shouldn't, and the ghost would hear him.
Velma was, of course, the smart one, the analytical one, the scientist and so forth. Could always come up and said, we can see that the Chinese writing is really, if you hold it up to the mirror, it says something and so forth.
If I remember my ancient Aztec, these inscriptions say this room is dedicated to the moon goddess.
Freddie's the leader, and he was the guy that came up with the Rube Goldberg, kind of contraptions and so forth. That character started off, I think his name was Jeff, and then he became Harvey, and then all of a sudden Fred came in and said he was going to be Fred. So I guess he had something to do with that. And while this is going on back and forth, the design guys would start working on the characters and coming up with the look of the characters and the dog.
Well, Hanna-Barbera had these number of wonderful artists working for them. They had this little creative brain trust that had Jerry Eisenberg and Alex Toth, and also Iwo Takamoto, who became kind of the head stylist and art director for the studio. And what Iwo did was come up with designs for a lot of the characters that were simple, and yet the characters have life and they have expression.
From a visual standpoint, I use an approach in which I would use almost a geometric series of shapes that I felt that they were talking about in their description of the characters. For instance, Fred was a V because he was sort of athletic, broad-shouldered, and etc. And the S curves for Daphne, who is sort of narcissistic in her feelings about style and etc. And Velma was almost a square or a rectangle because I wanted her to have a feeling of solidity and stability because she was supposed to be the intellectual in the crowd. And of course, all you had to do is add the horn-rimmed glasses to it, and there she was. Shaggy was the beatnik of the group, and so his shape was that sort of droopy build and stance on him, and had him sort of shuffle and hang his arms loosely to his side, and made his clothes a bit oversized. And it was the beatnik or hippie version of the teenager of that time.
We said, well, what kind of a dog are we going to have in this show? And we were saying, well, it's going to either be a great big dog or a little feisty dog. And we went with a great big goofy dog, because it's more fun to have a big, goofy dog.
The Great Dane was supposed to be the biggest dog around. And there was a woman that actually bred and reared Great Danes. So she came over and spent a solid hour describing all the positive things about what makes a prize-winning Great Dane. And I selected about 5 things, I think, and went in the opposite direction. For instance, a good, strong, straight back. So I sloped his back. A strong chin. So I underslung his chin. I lifted the eyes so that they became sort of human structured eyes, and very heavy brows, so the animators can use them to emphasize certain expressions. And I think a straight hind legs, I think she mentioned, so I bowed them. And I thought I could get a very funny duck waddle when he walked.
But the rule was this. The kids wouldn't buy into it if the monsters were silly. The bad guys were always real.
We concentrated on making it as scary and as dark as possible, and would stylize the lighting on the backgrounds.
So it had like a haunted mansion in the background, and it's dark and spooky, and there was a big ghoul and something like that.
When I went to present the idea to the top management of CBS, along with the whole fall schedule, and bear in mind that this program, Who's Scared, was the centerpiece of the whole show, and that without it, we really had no schedule. And I went up there, and Frank Stanton, who was president then, a very somber man, said, "That's too violent. We can't put that on the air."
They were scared to death. They went, "We can't put this on the air. It's too frightening for these kids." Every parent in America was going to call in and say, "Why are you giving my kid nightmares?"
And I said, "Well, my Lord, what am I going to do? Without this show, we have no schedule." And so I called up Joe, and I said, "Get everybody together at the studio. We really got to regroup on this thing." So I booked a flight on the red eye, and as we were approaching Los Angeles and landing, a light bulb went off, and I said, "We'll take that dog, we'll move him center stage, make him the star of the show, and call the show Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?"
So he came back and he says, Scooby-Doo is the name. It's the name of the dog, and it's the name of the show, and he's the star and the whole thing.
It was the same basic concept. Do the same horror stories, and they were very, very scary. But what soften the entire thing was the fact that you had this big buffoonish dog, and he was the equivalent of Costello in the Abbott and Costello movies. The dog saved the show. Without the dog, there would be no Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo!
Jinkies!
Jeepers!
Zoinks!
Come on, gang. Let's split up and look for more clues.
Quick, do something, Scoob!
Well, in many cases, they're much younger children who don't understand that there are real people behind the character voices. And so usually they're kind of excited to learn that that's how the magic comes about.
Don Messick did the voice of Scooby-Doo, originated it. And Don was just brilliant at breathing life to that character.
With Don Messick, he would simplify it with, well, it's a dog, and there are different types of dogs, and he was given an idea of what the dog's personality was like.
Well, I think Don got into the psyche of an animal. It was very much like Scooby-Doo. That dog was alive, and it was a being, a human being.
And here's a moldy old dog.
He just invested that character with so much personality and made him so funny that it's impossible not to love him.
Do I get a Scooby snack?
We'll look for one after we're off the camera here.
Okay.
I just got the idea for a trap that'll solve this mystery. Listen.
I would have to describe Fred as being the guy in the group who has a license. And that's why the other kids have him around, so he can drive the mystery machine.
Hang on, gang.
Fred really is kind of the all-American guy. He's got a good heart. The way that I got the part for Freddie, I was doing a stand-up routine, and within this routine, I did like a dog and cat fight, a lot of, And this executive said, we're doing a show called Scooby-Doo, and there's a dog. Why don't you come in and audition for Scooby-Doo? And I said, great. So I went over there, and I got the script, and I saw Shaggy. This is me. Funny character. And I'm always playing the straight guys. And so I sit down and meet Casey, and he's just fantastic. I said, well, what part are you reading for? And he says, I'm reading for Shaggy, and I want to read for Freddie.
Character I wanted to do was Fred, and so they said, no, we'd like you to read the other character, Shaggy. I said, oh, okay, well, what is it you want? And he said, well, come up with something, and what I came up with was, Scoob, old buddy, old friend, old pal, it's me, your friend Shaggy.
Now that's cool, Unc.
They called me back 3 times, and the third time, apparently they saw what they liked, and so they hired me.
Well, gang, I guess that wraps up another mystery.
They showed me a picture of Velma, and I realized that she looked a lot like me, except she didn't dye her hair. But basically, I looked a lot like the picture.
My glasses! I can't see without my glasses.
It was not my real voice, but it wasn't that far away. Velma lisps, I lisp. Velma has kind of a slightly kooky voice. I guess my voice is slightly kooky. I think my character set a good example for girls. They didn't have to follow around. They could lead. They could have the ideas. That's what I always liked about my character.
That's your cue, Daff.
Right. Oh, no. My finger's stuck in the keys. I can't work the trick.
Danger-prone Daphne did it again.
Danger-prone Daphne. Yeah. She would fall down chutes and get the rest of the kids in trouble.
Wait! Help me!
The girl that had played Daphne for a short period of time had left and gone to New York to get married. Nicole, Jaffe, David, was my roommate and said, get in here. They're looking for Daphne. You can do Daphne.
Jeepers!
I'm doing Velma. We could do this together. This would be great fun.
She was very right for the character. So when the other girl left, I called Heather and I said, come down right away and audition for this because I think you'd be terrific.
I didn't always listen to her, but for this I did.
Good show, Scooby.
You were so brave.
We ought to be in the movies.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo is a miracle.
It really is amazing the popularity and staying power that Scooby has had.
When we first started, obviously you had no idea that this show was going to be such a smash hit.
It has an appeal that just seems to cross generations.
He's a talking dog. He's goofy. He eats his face off constantly.
It's got an alchemy. It's just like all of the pieces sort of came together in an unexpected way and created something totally new.
It's timeless. How could anyone not like a talking dog who solves mysteries?
Okay, Fred, how do we start?
Start looking for something out of the ordinary. Take a good look around.
My first memories of watching Scooby-Doo were just on the couch by myself, latchkey kid with a tub of ice cream, like eating things I shouldn't be eating and watching Scooby-Doo.
My earliest memory of Scooby-Doo was when I was a little kid watching them on Saturday morning TV when you only had 3 channels.
I got up early and I watched whatever else I had to watch, and the show came on and the bats flew out and there's this noise as the bats fly out. And I turned off the TV and I didn't watch it for about 6 years.
The original cartoon series, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The episode was called A Tiki Scare Is No Fair, and that witch doctor creeped me out, man. I don't know what it was, but...
Although it's a mystery, the mystery is not that deep. And although it's supposed to be scary, it is not that scary. You have Scooby and Shaggy.
Zoinks! Ghosts!
They're really close buddies. And they're slackers. There's no pro-social value to their friendship. It is just silliness. And I think that is what kids respond to.
It's only a tree branch. I knew it all the time.
I think it was Iwo Takamoto's designs, because Iwo has a way of designing appeal.
The style is very simple and pleasant to look at. And so as a kid, I just enjoyed that whole style. It's kind of flat, but there was something charming about that. It just was appealing to the eye.
And it's a hard design to capture, which is kind of interesting, because I remember when we did the Johnny Bravo meets Scooby-Doo episode, trying to draw Scooby-Doo. It looks so simple, yet it's so complex.
So it's a nice combination of simplicity and complexity that made it interesting.
Well, the networks didn't really have as much play into the character to begin with. You know, it was just something that we decided to have a big, goofy Great Dane. As soon as you started writing the character, then he started coming alive, and you started seeing not only is he's a lot of fun, he's so lovable. That was the biggest thing.
What a creepy place.
When you look at those characters, they are characters kind of frozen in time. And they're not really what hippies or hipsters or cool kids were like. They're kind of like what 50-year-old guys thought kids were at that time.
They have sort of a lineage from other shows, sort of like maybe Dobie Gillis.
It's got a little bit of Hardy Boys in it. It's got a little bit of the Archies, that sort of teen gang thing.
We picked on something familiar to kind of give us the impetus for those kind of characters. Maybe that gave them kind of an eternal, youthful quality. The style was kind of quaint and old then, and it proved to be eternal.
And what's interesting is how those characters that in real life wouldn't have anything to do with each other get along in this small family unit.
We didn't get a chance to look for clues.
Show them the clue, Shaggy.
There was a chemistry between the characters on Scooby-Doo that was very enlightening and fun. It seemed very organic and natural. These 4 kids just seemed to work together.
There's someone there that any kid out there in America or wherever in the world they're watching, they can relate to him.
Whether it's a slacker guy or the pretty girl or the brainy girl or the dog that talks.
The other characters seem to be sort of the balance, and they ground you and sort of rounds out the audience that's watching the show.
Scooby brings them a part of the game because the dogs relate with humans, so whoever's watching that television, Scooby's bringing you in.
Well, it would be nice if I could be a teenager and drive around my own van, and it would be nice if I could, eat a lot of my favorite food, and it would be nice if I could, have friends and, run from ghosts but not really get scared or hurt.
Yipes! Double yipes! Let's get out of here!
Kids are trying to figure out the world, and they're a little anxious about it. Sometimes it seems unknown and scary. And the concept of Scooby is that you take the scary thing, you look at it, and you pull the rubber mask off and you find that it's not so scary after all.
The fact that it's never too horribly scary is a good thing for kids because they need to feel safe, but they need to let their imaginations kind of run away.
We never tried to make the shows scary to where they would really be frightening to kids.
I suppose you want me to take a look?
It was really done with the thought of Abbott and Costello. You know, meet Frankenstein, meet Dracula.
It's rare that you have a show that can entertain and have this mystery side and action side while still, you know, giving a good message for young kids.
It allows small kids to enjoy monsters and creatures and ghosts, but at the end of every episode, they always explain to you that there's no such thing.
And kids want things to be scary, but not dangerously so.
So they can know that they have that excitement, that thrill, that energy of, that's scary, but it's okay because the monster's really going to be the gardener.
This can only be one person. Hank!
Yeah, that big reveal at the end, it's always like, oh, it's just Mr. Withers.
Hank! Oh, dag nabbit!
One of the reasons that the formula of Scooby-Doo didn't bother viewers, I think, was that kids are used to seeing the same episode again and again anyway. Eventually, they all become formula because you've seen them 143 times.
Kids love repetition, and it doesn't occur to them from week to week that maybe Scooby and the gang has figured out this is not a real ghost or monster chasing them.
I'm a great believer in the formula. Hey, there's a monster. I'm scared out of my mind.
They treat it as a real witch or a goblin.
Let's get to the bottom of this gang and let's split up.
After they've lured it into a crazy Rube Goldberg-like trap, only then can the unmasking take place.
Sometimes that guy then takes off 2 masks, and we find out, oh, it was not only that guy, but it was that guy pretending to be that guy.
Who always says, you know, you pesky, I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you pesky kids and your dogs.
These things are very mannered at that point. By episode 3, it's sort of like, no, there are rules that you must adhere to.
Well, it's still early. Why don't we go into the ghost town and take a look around?
You don't know what kind of monster it's going to be. You don't know where they're going. You don't know where they're going to be running back and forth between the doors. But you know all of these things are going to happen.
Putting them in different situations and redressing the set and basically different adventure, but holding true to the personalities that they had created seemed to be the magic.
I knew it all the time.
Oh, brother.
The mysteries just were bookends for all the stuff that went in between. They want to see Shaggy and Scooby working together. They love it when they kind of screw up or do it or they find themselves in danger. That was the real fun part of the show for us.
Robert, how do you look? I don't see any difference.
Once you get that formula down, it's kind of reassuring to the audience to have it repeated. They know that there's an answer to the question someplace. They're playing along with the game, and they like to guess the answer.
When you're a small kid watching this, it makes you feel smart. It makes you feel good about watching the show. It's that one old guy who has the same voice as the monster. I know who it is.
It's like that Dagwood sandwich that they make, you know, it's got all the little ingredients and, you kind of know what it's going to be and it feels good.
That formula seems to work. It's comforting. It's like comfort food.
It's amazing to me how many different incarnations Scooby has taken on. He's really stood the test of time and kind of been able to be plugged into all different situations.
Scooby-Doo is a name that I believe upwards of 100% of the population are familiar with.
When a character is as iconic as Scooby is, it's fun to get in and play with it.
This is one of the shows I grew up watching, and here I am, I've got a shot to write it. So, how do I have a little bit of fun with it?
But you also want to sort of be part of that legacy as well. So everybody wants to take a stab at Scooby.
I personally wanted Johnny Bravo to meet Scooby-Doo because I was a huge Scooby-Doo fan. I asked, can Joe Barbera be on my, help us? Can he work on the show as well? They're like, sure. So Joe Barbera was actually part of our writing staff for a little time being. We had the help of Iwo Takamoto. He helped design the backgrounds and the look of it. I wanted it to be authentic to what Scooby-Doo was. We would stage things so that we could use the stock animation. Like there's this one scene where they're all entering the haunted house. We'd look at shows, we'd make sure the layouts were correct. We got the original voice actors. It was just great.
when we aspire to do things different and to add to what we already know to be true about the franchise and about the characters, then we are doing what Joe Barbera did in the moment. He said, well, let's put it all together.
I had no idea how many episodes of Scooby-Doo there are out in this world. I mean, there are thousands.
The fact that we get to bring their characters to life yet again in another incarnation is just an honor.
I definitely based my character mostly off the cartoon because I thought it was important to really go back to the root, to the original.
I have a great amount of respect for everybody that has been a part of this previously because I now know what it's like to try to portray a cartoon.
We are just entirely energized every day by the possibilities that this franchise still offers.
Scooby has been around for so long that it's something that everybody has been exposed to. It's part of the pop culture experience.
People that don't even watch it will make references to it.
They talk about, will you do it for a Scooby snack? And I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for those pesky kids.
We all know what they mean when they call somebody the Scoobies. We all know what it means when a character's in trouble in an action movie and says, ruh-oh.
Ruh-oh. Ruh-roh is now, it's probably in Bartlett's familiar quotations.
Give me liberty or give me pizza pie.
If you make a Scooby-Doo reference, 95% of your audience knows what you're talking about. If you make a historical reference, it's 50%. If you make a reference to any other show that was popular when you were a kid, it's 5%.
Specifically because the people making those movies and television shows all grew up with some influence of Scooby.
Because everybody's been exposed to it, it's a touchstone that the audience has. They go, I know what that is.
It's a kind of a really cool feeling when you hear somebody emulating Scooby. That's right. and do something funny to a Scooby-Doo.
I think it's just no different than, baseball and apple pie. You almost would be surprised that they didn't make references to it.
Whether it's an homage or whether it's just totally mocking it or whether it's, admiring what it came from, all of it is complimentary, I think, to the original concept and how it's just took off.
Don't look now, fans, but I think a star is about to be born.
There seems to be something about Scooby that is universal.
Scooby is so popular worldwide because it just translates easy. It's such a primal, simple concept.
Who doesn't love food, being scared, and a hot van?
Wonder what it's like on a Saturday night.
Kids really are the same across the world as far as their insecurities and their desire to be part of a group and their being able to look at a character and say, I'm like that, or I could be like that, and that would be okay.
He's very much grilled cheese sandwiches, Scooby-Doo. I don't know if in India they like grilled cheese sandwiches, but he's curry to India.
That's the worst joke I ever heard.
I used to do music, and I'd tour all over the world singing, and I would see it on TV, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I can't believe Scooby-Doo is on here.
And it would be so interesting to hear all the different versions of what Scooby sounds like in French, in Spanish, in German, in, Italian.
The fact that you've got a brand that's crossed cultures and, 160 countries, it's real easy to look at the appeal and the commercial value.
Putting Scooby-Doo on a toothbrush or a mug or, just any kind of merchandising is a great idea because everybody loves Scooby-Doo. You're going to sell it to 6-year-olds and 60-year-olds.
Scooby just has a natural appeal. It makes him popular as a pitch mutt. Who wouldn't buy a product from a dog?
That one has Scooby on it. I want the Scooby toothbrush. And if that makes kids brush their teeth, that's a brilliant merchandising idea. Let's put Scooby on the end of the toothbrush.
Kids want to take their Scooby-Doo backpack around, their Scooby-Doo iPod case, just because it's comfortable to have your friend with you whenever you go.
It's a very appealing face in the box. Oh, there's a character I love. How bad can these be? Scooby snacks. I believe at some point there were cookies for kids, for us, for people that were called Scooby snacks. So I'm a little disturbed that there's now dog food and people food called Scooby snacks.
Would you do it for a Shaggy snack? A little something I whipped up?
A Shaggy snack?
It's still on the air. You can still buy the DVDs. You can buy new DVDs. There's still new cartoons being made. There's still classic cartoons, so why not latch on and merchandise with them?
I think because Scooby-Doo has been on for so long, that he runs the gambit in terms of likability and relatability with parents and kids.
It's a part of about 2 generations, maybe 3 generations' childhoods. You know, there are people who are going to buy this DVD just because Scooby was a part of their childhood and they want to share it with their kids.
You know, when you love something as a kid, you really want to share that experience with your child. We enjoy doing things with our kids and seeing them enjoy it for the first time like we did.
It's high energy, just like little kids are, and yet it's reminiscent for the adults.
They grew up with Scooby, so it's a little nostalgia event for them. So it's really easy, fun family viewing.
It's really such a part of my childhood, and it was a part of my sister's childhood and my brother's childhood, and it's so iconic that the fact that I was chosen to do that is something that I will treasure for the rest of my life and with my kids someday.
People hand them down from one generation to another, and there's only a handful of characters, like Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse, that this is true of. A lot of great cartoon characters are of their time, and they don't transcend it. Scooby-Doo seems to just live on and on and on.
When you're flipping through TV and you go, oh, I'll just stop and watch that for a second, because you want to see how it's changed, and it has evolved, and yet there's something about it that's still very securely based in the concepts that Mr. Hanna-Barbera came up with back then, and it exists still today, and that's charming.
We've really got to go.
What? What's the rush?
I think the character will endure because it's an American icon.
If you lived in America and you watch television, you've seen Scooby-Doo at some point, and you know the formula, and you know the gags.
Scooby and the Scooby Snacks and Shaggy and the whole gang, they're part of our friends and part of our experience.
There are going to be new variations on Scooby long beyond our own presence here on the planet, and long may he live.
There's no downside to say I love Scooby-Doo. You know, everybody loves Scooby-Doo.